Hello and welcome. Today we're going to take a look at the huge Lego city located at Legoland Dubai. Now this is known as their Miniland, and there is a Miniland playlist available on the channel. So if you wanted to play Spot the Difference of how different every single Miniland is around the world, all of the other Legoland parks, and obviously feel free. Now, if you are going to be playing Spot the Difference, one of the biggest things to notice and note is that Legoland Dubai's Miniland is the only one, to my knowledge, where it is fully enclosed indoors and fully air conditioned. A lot of the other parks, say for example, around in America, they'll have the big tent pieces over the top of it, which work a treat because it means you can just stand in the shade and take your time as you're walking around. Whereas this one is fully enclosed, and this actually takes you to different parts of the park. You can notice everybody in the distance, everybody's filming and taking photos because these buildings are absolutely enormous. Now, the dioramas themselves, compared to the buildings, aren't that impressive. Normally at the Legoland parks, the buildings aren't this on this huge, grander scale, so they have a lot more bricks and other bits and pieces being used for dioramas, where your focus point on this Miniland is just obviously the huge scale of the buildings, and you've got a lot. It's been populated with other little bits and pieces. So you can see there's a little tennis court going on just on there, and then you've got a nice little beach area and things like that. But it is not hugely heavy with regards to other vehicles, boats, and things like that. There'll be the odd ones dotted around. You can see there's the odd paraglider sort of just coming in, but you can see how the open water, everything is stationary, and they don't have that many animatronics, because what they do differently here is they also do a light show. Now, they turn all the lights off across the top, and there's lots and lots of lights on the inside of all of these amazing buildings. So you can see that there's lots and lots of different bits and pieces to take a look at, and you can zigzag as you go all the way around. Now, there are some very impressive animatronics as well, so it does look like there's a lot of bits and pieces stood stationary, but at the same time, as the video starts to unfold, you will see lots of the trains that are working and a lot of the other buildings like that. And they do look very, very impressive indeed. So as we are walking around and trying to soak all of these different bits and pieces in the comment section, let me know what your favorite diorama is. Have you been to any of these buildings before? Have you actually walked around and seen all of these kind of things? I'm sure a lot of you would have done. Funny enough, I haven't. I have actually driven past all of these buildings to get to the actual Legoland Park. And then on this visit, I actually went from Dubai Parks and Resorts, then got an Uber and went over to Abu Dhabi, and then did Ferrari World and bits and pieces like that, then flew home. I didn't actually come into the center of Dubai to walk around the beaches and the shops and different bits and pieces like that. I am sure it is lovely and it is on my bucket list, but I have driven through it twice, so I think I've seen what I needed to see anyway. So I do recognize a lot of these buildings, but I am sure it will be breathtaking to see them a little bit closer up front. Now, I do apologize about my throat. I know I sound a little bit hoarse, but I have the plague, so it is what it is. Now, I have just thought of something as we are walking around this. Dubai have actually announced that they're going to be closing down eventually their current airport, as they're in the process of what they're going to be building as the biggest airport in the world. Now, Lego have spent a huge amount of time and a huge area within this Miniland for the current airport. So I'm assuming at some point the old airport, or what will be the old airport that's going to close down, will all have to be ripped out, and then it's all going to have to be redone with something new. Now, I have seen that before a couple of times at Legoland Billund and again at Legoland Windsor. You go one season and you look at the different bits and pieces and it looks fantastic. Then all of a sudden, the whole area has changed. So what we're walking around now, for example, all of it's gone and it's been replaced with something completely different. You can see the big pyramids and things in the background. Now, there was an area that didn't have anything on it, so I potentially at some point they might be adding something there. Now, the distance and gap between the two visits for me coming here was a good few years, and I did not spot anything different whatsoever. Whereas, say, for example, at Legoland Billund, every year there's always something different, and at Legoland Windsor they're always tweaking different bits and pieces or repairing different bits and pieces. But the advantage of this being inside, well, it doesn't get weathered. So I'm assuming it doesn't need as much TLC because you can see how far the barriers are away from anybody trying to jump over and reach. Now, at the time of this visit, they had actually blocked some of the different bits and pieces off. Now, when we do get over to the far back, where there was an area, say, for example, where the pyramids are, where you can actually crawl underneath and then see on the inside, they block that off now. The reason for that, I don't know. I don't know if it's just because of health and safety, or obviously that's all gone mental, or there's a different reason that they might be doing something on the inside. Now, this was filmed a good while ago, and I've only just got round to actually uploading it up onto YouTube. So if you have been and this layout does look different, let me know what's changed. But you can see in the background, you've got the huge airplane dangling from the ceiling, and there is a massive, massive area just for that airport, and the detail that is on the inside of that does look incredible as well. So certain bits and pieces you can really stop and try and have a look at the inside. Others you've just got to walk around as a 360 view slowly, and then you get to see all the different bits and pieces. Now, this actually has a water and light show out the front of it from time to time. It is a beautiful looking building. And then as we come around now, they've just got different buildings from around the world, but of course they've just picked all the tallest ones. You can see all of the different types that they've got. Now, they do this kind of thing at all of the other Legoland parks as well, but they just have different kind of buildings. And you can see straight through that door is how you get to the Lego Kingdom stuff. And obviously, those sets now are starting to sell like hotcakes with all of the different bits and pieces that are on the Bricklink. So it'd be interesting again from a Legoland perspective. Will they be adding in a little bit more sort of knights and castles into newer parks that they're going to be doing? Because a lot of the themes, I say this all of the time, they've based all of the themes on basically a lot of the stuff from sort of 97, when I guess when some of the first parks first opened up. I think Billund was maybe 95. I am saying this off the top of my head without Google, so obviously please correct me because I'm more than likely wrong. But at that time, the Adventures was out, the Kingdom was out, the Pirates was available to buy. And obviously, they built up all the hotels and had that same sort of theming, and all of the hotels link with each other. So it's all of the same themes. But I have said this for such a long period of time now. Basically, 80% of the bits and pieces that you walk around Legoland are sets that you can no longer buy. So obviously the Ninjago is available at certain areas of the Legoland parks around the world. Lego Friends is massive in the UK, literally non-existent in Dubai and other places in America as well. So it is quite surprising how certain places, or certain themes, shall I say, don't transfer to different places around the world. So I am very, very intrigued just to see some other parks around the world. Japan is on the list for 1 year because I have seen some different bits and pieces and photos, and that does look very, very good indeed. I will try and get back to Legoland Windsor in 2025 and Billund in 2025 because I really have been caught slacking with regards to going around the different Legoland parks and obviously seeing the different bits and pieces. But as both are on my doorstep and they're not very expensive to get to, well, I think it's only right that I do try and get down there and obviously try and get some filming done. And of course, in 2025, I'm going to get back to the Lego house. So there's going to be lots of new Lego content to come in 25. And obviously, we've got the Disaster series as well, which is me basically dropping all of the different Lego sets up in my Lego city. Now, this is obviously the big pyramid bit. This is the area that you could have walked around and crawled underneath in one area. And then there's another area which is even bigger, which I have done before, and that was all boarded off. And I think if I didn't film it, I took some photos of it at the time, but because this was so long ago now, it was at this first quarter of 2024, and it's been uploaded in the first week of 2025 because basically I lost the memory card. That's that's the truth. So I found the memory card now, so I've got all of the actual bits and pieces from here. It would have been quite nice to come up at one of the Legoland parks and seen it at Christmas, but oh no, there it is. So that is the big area that you can come underneath. Now, for some reason, I don't know, because if I remember rightly, this one was quite dark and it had a couple of spotlights over your head in different areas. Obviously, the floor was lit, but the side bits were dark. And the last time I did it, one or two of them weren't working because the depth of this table is basically another display underneath it, which is ridiculously impressive. So if some of the lights have gone out or the animatronics aren't working, then there's absolutely no point crawling underneath. But what I am a little bit confused with is it wasn't just this one, it was also the one beside it as well. So I wonder if somebody's had a bit of an accident or if it is just all, well, broken and knackered. So we'll just have to wait and see with regards to all of those little all of those little bits and pieces in the future. And if I ever do get to come back here, because again, it all comes down to cost, money, and time, it is a place to buy that you can actually visit as a long weekend if you wanted to. You could fly out Thursday night, fly back Sunday overnight, and you'll be back in the UK first thing Monday morning. So you have got that opportunity because the flights aren't too long. It just comes down to cost of flights at the time, and that is the thing that's going to catch you out. Now, the Eye, that big wheel, I call it the Eye because we've got one in London, it's called the London Eye. I do believe, if I'm getting it right and it's not in Abu Dhabi and it's Dubai, that was actually closed for maintenance for the last few years and it is now up and running. And I think this is the biggest the biggest wheel in the world. Now, I might be getting that wrong, and it might have been the one in Abu Dhabi that has just been refurbed, but I did read something a couple of weeks back. So again, if you could let me know, then fill me in because I am full of absolutely useless information and knowledge. Now you can see again just the scale of the buildings. You can see the road is also completely different to what they are on the outside. There's the other one. So there's your other safety first. That is the one I actually really did enjoy crawling underneath because you've got a really good view of the inside of that wall. You could stand up and actually see all of the other little dioramas and everything. This one is probably one of the most heaviest populated buildings, and you can see, well, you wouldn't believe that all of this is just individual Lego bricks. Some of the lighting looks fantastic. It just looks like a really nice thing. Now, I am slowly starting to run out of time. This was just a quick walkthrough. This the day that I filmed this, it was a massive rush. I got here about 11 o'clock in the morning after I had landed and literally filmed all of the Lego stuff, went straight back, slept, and then woke up first thing in the morning and then got a Uber over to Abu Dhabi for 2 days and then flew home. It was chaos, carnage, but also good fun at the same time. Now, there are two channels running now, don't forget. So we've got the Brick Life Travels channel, and then everything non-Lego related is over on the Global Life Travels channel. So you have all of the different theme parks, all of the other adventures that have gone on in the past, and also like just hotels and accommodation, how to get around, getting stuck at the airport, and all that sort of silly nonsense. It's basically more of the behind the scenes, different bits and pieces. So head over to the Global Life Travels channel if you want to see that kind of thing. Those videos have stalled, but they will be going again in January of 2025. And I will just be getting one of those videos uploaded a week just because it is very, very difficult at the moment for content. As well, I don't really have that much to upload on that channel, which is a bit of a schoolboy error, to be honest. But again, as we're going around, you can see all the different fun facts of how many bricks it was, how long it took to do all these different bits and pieces and things like that. And you can see the animatronics for the trains were working perfectly well, and the train system here is extremely impressive as it goes round and coming in and out of the massive train stations that they've got dotted all over these areas. So each one of these will have different tracks and things around it. So yes, it did look very, very impressive if you are coming from a train perspective and obviously from a large building perspective. But if you want to see lots of animatronics with the cars and things like that that you're used to, well, it's just not that kind of miniland. So again, if you wanted to go over to the Legoland, Legoland Dubai, Legoland Billund, Miniland, and you can see all the different bits and pieces over there. Or California, that was absolutely stunning. That had huge new areas all included in there as well, with a whole new marina and different bits and pieces. So again, it does look very, very impressive because you can see all these new buildings with all the new building techniques. And the second you see some of the newer stuff beside the older stuff, well, it blows the older stuff out of the water. But guys, I really am starting to run out of time. This is the last little loop, and then we are done. So if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Again, there's going to be a lot of Legoland content coming in 2025 from Windsor, Billund, and anywhere else that I can get to in 2025. Of course, you have the odd Lego store popping up again from time to time, and then you've got some comparison videos and the disaster stuff as well. So again, if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. But as always, thank you very much for watching. You lot take care and I'll take us to the next one. Ta-da.